And that's something that also is really important getting into these cats or dogs, is that the body attitudes themselves are really something that, that can really give you something. For instance, when a dog or a cat is running, for instance, you might actually have a situation in a run like this. You might have this feeling because you might have the head down here, you have the chest like this. You may have one leg landing like this. The other leg might be, the other arm, I should say, because it has the scapula, might be coming in motion and about to sort of come into a position, while the other leg might, this butt back here, this one might already be way up here, about ready to sort of get into a position like this. Again, I'm using the shapes, the symbols to try to do it. But the other leg might be back here like this. It might be still coming back here like that. And all through the whole thing, that tail is just like, you know, flowing back here like this. Again, I'm trying to create a fluidness. When I sit there and try to, I'll put the little nose in here. I'll have the ears coming back like this. I'm going to have the sort of the fur will be coming back. I'll try to create just sort of a really quick sort of a thing here of a cat that's sort of, you know, on the run or something like that. I really want this to be sort of feel like it's, you know, maybe I'll take even that fur and go over to the side over here like this. Take the ears like this to create that. Make sure that I get everything in there that I want. Have this, that paw sort of dragging here. Notice how I'm using these shapes like this. And the reason I'm doing that is because I want to be able to come in tight here at the wrist where I want it to be thin, but I want to come out to where the pads are, the feet are. Maybe I'll put a little thing in here like that. I'll have that little pad going down to the heel. I have this leg coming back, stretching back here like this, back to the little pad. Do something like that. This helps me give a lot of line of direction. And of course, I'm not doing animation here. I'm just showing how you can use the overall structure to try to create, you know, an action moment that's going to help you, you know, even have more fun. Now, of course, obviously, if you got into animation, if we were doing an animation, we would have to have it obviously a lot more, you know, calculated in terms of, you know, where was she coming from, and, you know, and where is she going, and what is the surface she's on, and so forth, and all that. But under the circumstances, I'm just trying to show how you can take the same structure areas of it and sort of create an action moment where a character would come into something like that. I mean, quite honestly, a cat or a dog, doesn't matter. You can actually have them in All Dogs Go to Heaven, for instance, the movie, one of the movies that I worked on. We actually even had situations where I had the characters standing up. So I would actually have to have them dancing. So I would actually have a dog who was actually standing up in I'll just say even like this. He was sort of doing his little routine, and the dog was actually a dog, but walking around like this. And he'd have maybe one leg up like this and doing a little dance, and his tail was coming out like this. And maybe he had his, you know, one scapula, the shoulder was up like this, and he was sort of in a position, and the other one was over here, maybe dancing with somebody. And maybe he was, you know, I'm just going to do this just to sort of give you an idea. Maybe he was singing up here with his ears up like that. And I had the big neck here like this. Looks cute. But I'm going to sort of just give you an idea of what, you know, how I could take the exact structure of the animal itself and actually take it into an action position to be able to animate it in a way that was, you know, was still. Let me get some teeth in there so it kind of looks cute. It's sort of, but you never forget once you've gotten to animate a character or you draw these characters. They have a tendency to become part of your life, and, you know, it's always something that you regret almost when you leave a picture. But you can kind of see the feel of what I'm trying to talk about here, and that's really where you can actually start to have fun. It was actually Mark Davis, again, who told me that whether you're dealing with a dog or whether you're dealing with a cat, if you understand the structure, if you understand these simple pieces that are basically the chest cavity, and you understand that there's a sort of a change of shape until you get to the hips, to the knees, down here is to the feet, to the scapula, coming down to the elbow, down to the feet, like this. If you can understand these pieces, I'll go over here again, hips, knees, heel, toe, change of shape for where the neck area is up to the head, and of course the muzzle area. If you can control these simple shapes, you can do anything with them. You can twist them into a knot because they're sort of like little armatures that you can bend and mold. And then of course, if you take the concept of shapes, then all of a sudden you can exaggerate those shapes and make them do anything you want to create all kinds of fun and dynamic poses. So that's my short little sort of intro into cats for today. Thank you.
Thank you for taking the time to view this first installment of our Drawing with Jeffrey series. We hope you enjoyed the presentation. Before we go, we'd like to reinforce a few of the most important drawing tips you should have taken from this program. Start with an armature. By varying your armature, you will create dogs and cats of all different sizes and styles. Think of your character in terms of shapes and symbols to help visualize your form better. If you understand the structure and the simple shapes, you can do anything with them. Be sure to use contrast in your drawings. Straight lines look better when offset by curved lines. Hard areas can balance out soft areas. Focus on the squash and stretch aspects of your character. Mass does not disappear as it is compressed. You need to account for this volume when your dog or cat is seated or in motion. Analyze your silhouette as you go along. Use your kneaded eraser to lift off excess graphite and then go back in and commit to your details with a fine-tip pencil. Place a special emphasis on the eyes. They're the windows to the soul of your character. Do not minimize the importance of the eyebrows. These shapes serve as symbols to help your character communicate more effectively. Utilize all of the various emotional spices at your disposal to create unique facial expressions. When drawing hair, do not draw the individual hairs. Draw them in groups of varying clump sizes to create a furry effect. Think about the color separation of your animal's coat to produce unique effects. As you draw, continue to think about the underlying structure. The end result is not just a drawing, it's a character that's expressing something that you, as an artist, want it to say.
Well, that's it for this first edition of Drawing with Jeffrey. I hope you enjoy the lessons, but remember, the best way to improve the quality of your own drawing is to stick with it. Practice these techniques on a daily basis, and you will see an improvement in your own original art. Be sure to join us on our next program. Till then, keep on sketching.